Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Lee Beatty, and I want to welcome you to this video. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to uncover what you really want to do and where you need to start. Who is this video not for? This is for those people who are probably just swiping through videos, like, hey, I want to watch a video, and I'm going to go through and I'm going to leave some negative comment just to spread fear, uncertainty, and just really trying to get people going on the wrong foot. This video is not for people like that. This is for somebody who is genuinely, they want to know, or where can they start? How can they uncover something? And they want it laid out in a simplistic fashion that's going to enable them to move forward. Okay. Today, as part of this video, I'm going to reference a few things, but I'm also going to share with you that all you're going to need for this today, for this simple video, is a pen and a piece of paper. Okay. I'm going to go through this. Don't mistake the simplicity of what I'm going to share with you to not take action on what it is that you're learning here today. Because as simple as it may seem, there's a lot that goes into this. It takes a lot of hard work and due diligence on your part. Okay, so thank you for stopping by, and hopefully everything you learn here, maybe you can pass this on to somebody who maybe needs kind of a video like this to really shed some light on how to move forward. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about myself. Obviously, my name is Lee Beatty. You've hit my channel. Maybe you see that in this channel that I've provided, it is loaded with free training. It's loaded with tons of marketing material and videos, like not necessarily like this, but it's marketing material. It's everything from social media tips to helping musicians out to cryptocurrencies to all sorts of stuff. Okay, it's a passion of mine. I'm going to tell you why it's a passion. Several years ago, I took the plunge. I literally left corporate America, started my own business, and I failed. I lost a ton of confidence, and along the way, while I was descending and I started skidding off the bottom of those rocks from that pond, I was bottoming out. I kept asking myself, why am I doing this? Why in the world am I doing this? Why am I doing this? You know, oddly enough, 2 days after I would say that, I had on my whiteboard or grease board, whatever you guys want to call it, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And I wrote it in big letters, small letters. Why am I doing this? I was so disappointed because I failed. I got hacked. I was losing money. I had to let a team go. It was one of the most traumatic moments of my life. And I'm going to tell you what happened. That was so powerful. I wrote something down that said, why am I doing this? What it did was, it's called the Law of Implication. Okay, I can't take that term. I learned this from the OMG guys, one-man gang guys. For those of you who are into marketing things, I learned this a long time ago. Don't necessarily follow their stuff as much these days, but I learned the Law of Implication from a guy named David Mills. Okay, and it says that when you ask a question, you write and ask a question, the universe is gonna go out there and get an answer for you, and it's gonna bring it back to you. If you have veracity, if you have a feeling and you have passion in your heart about what you're asking a question about, you will get the answer. You're here at this video because you needed to see a video like this, and you needed to be able to learn from a video like this. Well, you know what happened when I wrote that down? It came to me. It's been etched in my mind. You look in my YouTube channel in the header, or the profile header. You know what it is? It made total sense to me, and it's made sense ever since then. It's to educate a macro community that funds a micro community that feeds a community. What that means is, folks, I want to build something in its simplest form to internally build itself out and create something that's an evolving, an ever-evolving, changing community of positive thinkers, of go-getters, and I provide videos like this a lot of times to help you guys out. So that's why I do it. I want to educate a macro community that funds a micro community that feeds a community. With that being said, there's what you need for this lesson today. Get a piece of paper. You need to fold it in half. Okay? You only need is one piece of paper. For me, this is a piece of paper I have and a pen. Not a pencil, a pen. You need a pen. Okay? So some of the things that I'm going to cover with you today are simplistic in nature, but it's had some of the most profound impact on my life. And I'm going to share it with you how that's helped me. Okay? So first, what you want to do is you want to fold this piece of paper in half. Just to pre-game it lengthwise, just fold it in half and get your pen ready. Okay? I want to put a quote out here for you. It's by Henry Ford. It is, if you think you can do a thing or think you can't do a thing, you're right. So it starts with your internal belief on what you can do. You're here at this video because you need to hear a message like this from a guy like me who has experienced ups and downs and in-betweens, but because I have that big why, this big picture why, I make videos like this for people like you. And thank you for stopping by. Okay. It says also, coming together is a beginning. So you're coming together now with me on this video. Staying together is progress. So stay through this video. It might teach you a thing or two. And working together is a success. Work together with me. Use these tools. And you will begin to see things a little bit more clearly after this video. And after you take action on this video. Failure is simply the opportunity to begin again. This time, more intelligently. That's why I'm making this video. That quote, those Henry Ford quotes right there, are the reason why I'm making this video for you today. I woke up this morning, I wanted to do something super powerful. My AR for this day, my action required today, is I wanted to do something that was so empowering for my YouTube subscribers and YouTube channel followers and folks that just need something. I wanted to provide something to you that is of extreme value, simple in nature, but of extreme value. So here do we start? How do we start? Where do we start? And let's get going here. First thing is, start by negating the negative and affirming the positive. Okay, I'm going to type this in here. Negate the negative, affirm the positive. You're probably going to hear from a man called Jack Canfield. I read a book from him called The Law of Attraction. And I got this term from him. Okay, so I have to cite Jack Canfield as my motivation, as a mentor for this. He hasn't personally mentored me, but it's a book I read, so he mentored me indirectly. Okay, and it started with this. So what does that mean? See this right here? On the left-hand side, I want you to write on the top, don't like. Okay, go ahead, take your time, pull your cap off the pen, write that down. On the left-hand side, write don't like. On the right-hand side, I want you to write like. Or don't love, or don't like, or love, whatever you want to say. It really depends on you, but for the simplicity, write don't like and like. What you're going to do is you're going to take this little smart communication device that you have called a mobile phone. I want you to set 10 minutes on that. 10 minutes on that phone of yours. Set it 10 minutes. So first step, get ready. Set 10 minutes on your phone. And what you're going to do in 10 minutes, you're going to write all the things that you don't like about your life. Or that you don't like about your current circumstances or your current situation. I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, Lee, what in the world are you talking about? Yeah, I'm here because you want me to I'm here because you're telling me you're going to show me how to uncover what I really like to do and where should I start. I'm going to tell you why you start from a place of not writing down what you don't like. Folks, if you just stopped what you were doing right now, and the people, your circle around you, and all the people that are around you, they'll tell you, and you more than likely will tell most anybody, what things that you don't like. Let me say that again. If you stop and you just listen to the people that you're around and the things that you're going through, people are going to constantly tell you what they don't like. So the first step of this is, I want to get that out the way. This is the first step with anything you're going to do. You're going to get out what you don't like at the very beginning. The reason for that is, in order for you to move forward in life, you cannot build off of a shaky foundation. You got to get all that negative stuff. You got to get all that stuff that is holding you back. All these limiting thoughts, all these limiting actions, all these things that just don't suit you. They don't serve you. You need to take a step back first. You need to start on a true baseline. Remember, before I told you I skid off the rocks and I found my why. Well, I start from a place of why. I had the end result in mind, and let's move forward from that. And the end result is you cannot build off a shaky foundation. So you gotta get all this stuff out the way in the beginning. All right? 10 minutes. You set your timer. You go through 10 minutes. Now, that may seem like that's not very long to write all the things down you don't like. But I tell you what, within like minute 5, you're going to be like, holy crap. And if you really got a lot of negative and pressing things in your life, you're going to probably fill this whole page up. Okay? Now, psychologically, why am I asking you to do that? I want you to identify what you don't like initially. Okay? What you don't like initially, and you're going to write it down. Okay? After that 10 minutes, and you write that down, I want you to take a break. Take a break. Take a 15-minute break. Take a 15-minute break. Be conscientious about the fact that you just spewed on a piece of paper all the things you don't like. You know the great part about that? You start from the bottom and you build up. The reason why you start with negative or limiting beliefs and getting them out of your head and you're writing it down is because I'm going to show you how to negate those next and affirm the positive, which is the most important thing you can do. Is you got to start from a place that you don't like first. If you start with something you have ideas and dreams and all these things that you love, and you start to build on that, but maybe your self-talk, or maybe subconsciously you're just kind of back here like, yeah, right, I don't believe in that. This is why you do this exercise. All right? After your 15-minute break, and when I say take your 15-minute break, you literally, you leave the area you're in. You walk away. You get some fresh air. You'll get a cup of water. You do whatever you do. 15 minutes later, you come back. The next steps are so powerful and profound. It's going to change your life. Okay? When you negate the negative, you've already put the negative down. You've already done something that most any one of you can do. Just, as I said, folks, you ask somebody what they really want, and they're like, well, I don't know. I want to make a lot of money. Well, how much? Well, a lot. It's something I can be comfortable with. What's comfortable? Well, so I can go do the things I want to do. What things do you want to do? I don't know. That's what most people will say. Think about it. But if you ask somebody what they don't like, man, they'll tell you that. Oh man, I don't like this traffic, or I don't like my vehicle, and I don't like the house I'm staying in. I don't like this. I don't like that. Blah 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 blah. And it's just they can tell you that right off the top of their dome, man. They can tell you, hey, yeah, I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like all the blah 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 blah. Well, if you start from the things that you don't like, the next step is when you come back after that 15-minute break. What you're going to do is you're going to take this very pen that you wrote all that stuff you don't like, you're going to cross a line right through it. And immediately proceeding on the right-hand side, what you do like. Okay? So in other words, I don't like apples. You cross that out. I love bananas. I really like bananas. I like grapes. I like other fruits. I don't like my weight gain. I don't like all the weight I've gained. You cross through that statement. I love my weight loss. I love my new body. I love the 20 pounds that I have lost. Okay? You do this repetitively. Folks, I can't do this exercise for you. Only you can. This is so personal to you. Most people don't understand that if you don't start from a place where you need to kind of negate everything. You need to kind of bottom out and say, like, where do I start from? You need to start from the bottom and move up. And when you write all the negative stuff, you're getting it out of the way. You're getting all these beliefs out. You're getting all the stuff that you think. You're getting all the things that you don't like. when you write it down, it's kind of it's a subconscious thing where you're actually everything you're thinking, you're writing it down. And then the second step, when you come back and you cross through it and you write what you do like about things, or what you want to see, or when you write down the things you like, or things that you like to see happen, or things that you can envision happening in your life, that's why you do that. By subconsciously, here's what happens physically. When you physically cross through that, your mind has mentally has crossed that negative thought out of your mind, and by immediately writing what you do like, that's more than likely 180 degrees the opposition to what you don't like. What it does is it just triggers psychologically, and I'm not a psychology major or anything. I do this because I learned it and I apply this to my life. I've gotten it anything I've ever wanted. I started by doing this. I negate the negative, I affirm the positive, and then what happens on this is after you've crossed through all these things that you don't like, you fold that piece of paper over, and you only see the things you do like. And what you do, folks, what you do next is some of the most powerful things that can happen, because your mind has already crossed through all these things you don't like. It's already dealt with it by you physically crossing out. Your mind is saying, no, it's already done with. I've already crossed it out. And in your mind, you've already moved on. Like a lot of you who are in Snapchat or Instagram, when you swipe, your mind is already past that image or that video. You're already past it. Okay? So let that part sink in. Now the next part, and it's just as critical as crossing it out and then writing what you do like. What you do next is you affirm this. You say all the things you like. But you start initially, when you come back and you write all the things you do. After you've crossed it out and you write the things you do like, now it's time for you to speak it into existence. It's time for you to affirm it. This is some of the most powerful things that you can do. Because you know what happens? When you do the things and you write the things you don't like, you're going to be so cognizant. You're going to be conscientious of negative stuff. By you going through this exercise, it's almost like you're a door guard and you're like, okay, that's a negative thought. That's a negative belief. That's somebody who's negative around me. No, I'm putting my wall up. Can't handle that. I can't let that in. By you doing taking this act of writing this thing down, you're literally establishing kind of a wall between negative and positive thoughts in your mind. Believe it or not, you'll see subconsciously what's going to happen here. I'm no psychology major. I'm speaking from experience. When I've done this exercise, and then when I constantly affirm this, I affirm in my mind, you should affirm this 3 times a day at least. The beginning of the day, in the middle of the day, and at night. When you wake up and when you go to bed. So that's like 5 times. But when you start to say it, your mind's going to be kind of like tricked. You're going to be kind of tricked into thinking like, yeah, right, some of this stuff. But what happens when you start to speak it into existence and you start to affirm it, all the things that you like this morning, I wanted to get up and deliver something that's so positive and so motivating. This is what I came up with today. And I'm making a video. As many of you know, I do these videos and I kick them out to you guys. Okay, this is what I do. And look what happens. As a result, an hour ago, I woke up, I did my little meditation, I listened to my motivating stuff, and then boom, I had a thought process. I kicked my bubbles in, I opened some quotes, and I'm kicking some butt to give you guys something that I like, I personally wanted to do. And you know what? I'm affirming things that I've affirmed for weeks. I got up and I'm doing a video for you. It works. Okay, so every day when you get up, speak those things that you like into your existence. And here's the kicker. Here's the real key to this that no one really talks about. Maybe you've heard it before, maybe you haven't. When you speak the things that you personally like into existence, you begin to get more things that you like. Think of, okay, for instance here, I'll give you a great example. Take my rental car keys, okay? As you guys know, I consult, I travel a lot, rental car, right? Let's just pretend this is a magnet, okay? And like I said, when you start by the things that you don't like, a magnet, as you know, a magnet attracts like, and it repels. Like if you have one side that's a positive and you have another magnet, it's a positive, it's going to repel it, right? Okay, in order for a magnet to essentially, pull into the other magnet, you have to have a negative and a positive. Okay, this will make some sense here in a second. This, what you don't like and what you do like scenario that I just provided for you is kind of like a positive and a negative magnet, and you have another positive and a negative magnet. And what happens is when you have two positive, it's gonna kind of bounce it. It's gonna bounce it off. It's gonna come close, and it's never gonna allow you to fully mesh. And that's kind of the reasoning, at least in my mind, to tell you to start with a negative positive, because the negative positive, it's going to sink. It'll allow this to have a magnetic bond, and it's hard to break that bond. So when you start with a negative and you negate it and you affirm the positive, you're essentially able to move forward and build off of that baseline, and you're able to build and establish more building blocks. That's the way I look at it. Okay, that's probably not the official psychological term or a brain term for it, if you will, but to me that makes sense. Okay, in other words, when you say the things you don't like, you cross through it and you say what you do like, and you start putting it out there, the energy that you put out, the thoughts you put out are going to be positive. And all these other magnets of these positive people are going to come, and they're going to be surrounded by you. Okay, 3 years ago, something I wrote down is I didn't like the financial state I was in. As you guys know, that was 6 years ago. 6 years ago, I didn't like the current state I was in, and I did this exercise here. I did this exact exercise. I went from losing hundreds of sites, losing a buttload of money, having to close down my company because I was hemorrhaging money essentially. And what I did was I retooled my thinking, I retooled my actions. I went from web development, which was something when I first started, I had no idea what web development. I didn't know what a blog was. I didn't know what hosting was. I didn't know what SEO was, but I taught myself that because I never gave up. And then what happened along the way, I'm building these sites up and I'm starting to build all this content, doing all these different things, right? And then boom, I got schwacked. I got hacked. I lost everything. And to boot, I wasn't doing anything right. I wasn't doing all the steps right. So what happened, I got hacked. I went through and I wrote all this stuff that I didn't like. And I had a huge long list. When I went through this and I crossed it out and I negated the negative, and then I started to affirm the positive, something really magical started happening. And I started noticing things actually within 2 weeks to about a month. I started noticing things that I wrote down that I like. These circumstances and all these different things around me started to present themselves. Okay, so this action of doing this is a core foundational paradigm shift, if you will. It's essentially by you writing the things that you don't like and then affirming the things that you do like. What it does is it helps you to understand psychologically in your own mind, because I'm not telling you what to write. You're telling yourself what you want to write there. You're directing that pen to write down the things that are personally driving you into that negative mindset or that negative connotations or this negative situation you're in. At the time, guys, I lost all this money. I lost respect for myself because I started to be really down and negative on myself. So what happened as a result, my self-talk started to be negative. The way and the things that were coming into my life went from positive to negative. And it just kept piling on more negative, more negative, more negative. When I did this simple exercise right here, and I started every day, I got up and I was reading it, just like I'm reading a script, just like I'm a hero in my own freaking movie, man. I started saying everything I like, and then I started to expect that I'm going to get it. I started developing a feeling inside of what I liked, and I started to get more of it. Very powerful. This is the first step. This is the very first step with anything. If you're going to do anything, you need to realize that in order for you to build and move forward in a positive direction, you need to establish a wonderful and solid foundation. And you start by negating the negative and affirming the positive. Okay? That's the first step. Okay, I gave you the first step now. Now that you've done that, now we got to start uncovering what you do, what you're passionate about. Because now at this point, you're in what I consider an attitude of gratitude. You have gotten all this kind of loose negative energy out there, and you start to surround yourself with positive and motivating positive thoughts. Okay, that's what you've done. Okay, now you're on a wavelength that is positive. And the best way that I can put this to you, whether you still listen to the radio, you're an XM radio or Sirius radio person, whatever it is that you do, what happens when you actually tune into that station? When you tune into that station, you get the exact messages that you want. If you're in a sports radio, you're going to get, when you tune into that exact station, you're getting sports radio. If you're wanting to listen to motivating and positive stuff, like, say, Tony Robbins, the Haywood House, Brendan Bouchard, Jack Canfield, any of these folks, let's just say that's the kind of avenue, and you want to dial into that, maybe you go listen to their podcast. What I'm getting at is when you dial that frequency in, that frequency is going to give you more of what you want, which is the messages you want. And when you establish this you've now, at that point, you've kind of, in electrical terms, you have these sine waves, right? For all you guys know. And sometimes to get a stronger signal, you decrease the bandwidth, and what happens, it becomes a stronger signal. Or in this case, you cut all this extra noise out, and boom, you get centered into a frequency that absolutely works for you. Okay, let that sink in. Okay. Now you're like, okay, Lee, I'm here. I want to uncover what I'm passionate about. Okay, I'm going through this negating the negative. I'm affirming the positive. I'm jacked up. I'm feeling positive. I'm starting to feel the motivation. I see what's going on here. Now here's what's next. Here's what's super duper next. I tested this next theory with 14 and 15-year-olds first. Then I tested it with senior citizens. Then I tested this out with little kids. Then I tested it out with folks my age. This is what the next step here is. So simple. It's positive, but it's one of those things where you're going to be like, wow, easy. How come I didn't think of this stuff? All right. The next step is how to uncover what you're most passionate about. Okay, so this is step 2. Hopefully by step 1 you realize what we're going on and you're doing here. The next step is, you can use the same piece of paper if you like, or get another one. To me, I use my whiteboard for stuff like this. I think something out and I use my whiteboard and I brainstorm it and I take pictures of it. But what probably helps out the most, because a lot of us are real digital in nature and we use our phones a lot, our tablets, all these things. To me, this step you cannot do on a device, on a laptop, on a freaking phone, on a tablet. You can't do that. You physically have to write this stuff out, because you have to physically take the action when you cross that negative thought out and you write down what you like. You're physically establishing a paradigm shift in your brain, and you're now getting on that frequency of what you do like. Okay, now that you have what you do like, now it's time to uncover the types of things that you're passionate about. Very easy exercise. So if you remember, when I said use that same phone here, I said set it for 10 minutes, you write down all the things you like. If you're somebody that had to write more, and take 15 minutes then. Okay, whatever it takes for you. 10 minutes is a good time. You can really establish all that. Now, when you're uncovering what you're most passionate about, you need to take that same phone and you need to literally write 2 minutes. You need to put 2 minutes on your timer. And what you need to do, when you set that 2 minutes on your timer, you hit go. You need to take a piece of paper. You need to write down all the things that you absolutely like, that you have a passion for. It could be about gardening. It could be about underwater basket weaving. It could be about basketball. It could be about baseball. It could be about how to be a better parent. Whatever it is. I don't know what it is that you like. Only you do. What things do you like? Do you like cars? Do you like, you know, photography? Maybe you like, better health. Maybe you like working out. Whatever it is. Take that 2 minutes and just write these things out. Don't think about it too much. Don't sit here and think about it. Just think what comes to your mind. Just write it out. Just, I like cars. I like, this, that, or the other. It doesn't matter. I can't tell you exactly what to write down. Only you can. So when you go through at that 2 minutes, the reason why you take and you put this time on there, the 10 minutes and the 2 minutes, and these are just rough estimates. The reason why you do that is there's a term called binge working. Okay, there's actually a term called binge working. And if you establish small goals, and you do it in short amount of times, and you give yourself a time frame, that's considered binge working. And you have laser targeted focus, and you write down what you're doing right now in that 2 minutes. What you're going to see next is going to uncover some of the greatest things that you could potentially monetize. Okay, you take that 2 minutes, you write down. You just write down. I love fishing. I like fishing. I like photography. I like, cutting grass. I like my kids. I love, whatever. And in 2 minutes, you're just writing down things that you like, that you have a passion for. To me, it's about, I like making videos for people. I like helping people. I like working out. I like making, stuff that makes me feel better. I like sports. I love, more particularly, I like basketball. I like football. I like baseball. I like golf. Okay, I like frisbee golf. Okay, et cetera, et cetera. So you get the point here. You write down what you like. You may like building models. You may like, doing some things like whatever. Okay, pick stuff that you like. And at the end of that 2 minutes, when that timer goes off, you're done. There's no more writing. Okay? Take a little breather. You kind of sit there. You're going to look at your list and you're like, wow, that's pretty cool. And just so you guys know, I did this with one of the most indecisive young men. As you know, every kid is not the most decisive. Sometimes they're very indecisive. I did this with my oldest, and I did it with him. Because this kid just he's not sure what he wants to do, and not this, and he just doesn't know. It's one of those you ask him in direct questions. Well, I don't know. I think that's his middle name. I don't know. I think he's established a new middle name of I don't know. But what I do is, by that 2 minutes, I did this with him. Okay? At the end of that 2 minutes, you're done. And you only have 1 minute left. Only 1 minute left. You go through, you write all this stuff down, you take 1 minute, you set 1 minute on time, your clock, and you circle the 3 things on that list that you like. And those 3 things right there are 3 things that you can monetize and that you can build potential business from. 1, because you have some prior knowledge on this stuff. You may not be, in your mind, an expert, but you more than likely have enough information or know enough about it that you can speak with some type of authority. Okay, when you've identified those 3 things, okay, so just understand these are things that you can establish some type of authoritative tone with this. You can speak about it. You can actually probably write some loose and general content about it, or make a video about it, or post content about it. Okay, because you have a passion for those things. Those are 3 things. Now, I always get this leading to, how am I supposed to develop content? How am I supposed to? Now I've got these 3 ideas. How do I develop content? Well, the next part of this, and this is the last piece of this, and I know your time is valuable, but just keep in mind that what you're learning here is simplistic in nature, but it's very, very powerful. Okay? Once you have those 3 things, every single one of those 3 things, you need to take 5 minutes. Take 5 minutes right here. And this is where I digitally do this. Okay? This is not something you write down at this point in time. When you have those 3 things, I would, in my mind, what I do, and what I suggest everybody does, if you have a laptop, a tablet, a phone, whatever the case, for those 3 things, you make a folder. You literally go in, you make a folder for each one of those 3 things. Then you open inside that folder, you make another folder called photos. Okay? Called photos. And you go in each one of those and you create photos. Now what you do, you take 5 minutes, you do a simple Google search, basketball, right? You go through, I'm just saying basketball, right? I'm just using this as an example. You go through and you type in, you know, the things that you like about basketball. So you take 5 minutes inside, say, maybe it may be basketball, maybe it may be fishing. Oops. Okay, or whatever the case. It doesn't matter what, I don't know, only you know. Only you've established those 3 things. You go through and you take these pictures, you right click them, you save image as, you label it, and you put it into a folder. You put it into that photos piece in that folder. At the end of 5 minutes, you're done. You don't need to overthink this. Trust me, in 5 minutes, you're going to grab a lot of pictures. You're going to grab a lot of things. Okay? And what happens at the end of those 3 things, by you aligning with the things that you like, a couple things are going to happen here. By you going and grabbing those pictures, you, as I call this paint by numbers approach to getting what you want. This is what I call it. By you going and grabbing these pictures and whatnot, okay, by you grabbing those pictures, what you're doing is you're more clearly defining what it is that you like. And you're literally attaching a picture with that like. You're attaching all these pictures, and what that does is it more clearly defines, it more clearly defines and establishes this more of a solid foundation about what you like. And it's something that by pulling those pictures, that's going to be your inspiration. Those are going to be your inspiration for things that you pulled, you right-clicked, you saved it, you put it into that folders file, so that when you go and you assess which one of these 3 things that you possibly want to start a business from or monetize or whatever the case, you have something that was your core inspiration. And it all started from a simple exercise of putting 2 minutes on your phone, writing down what you wanted, circling those 3 things. You took another minute, you identified those 3 things. Then you took 5 minutes each and you start pulling pictures from it. What you've just done is you went from kind of like, I don't know what I'm really passionate about, to establishing what you're passionate about and more clearly defining that passion. Okay, hopefully this makes a lot of sense. Now what I've done in this video and what I've covered in this video is how you can really establish a new paradigm in your life. What is a paradigm shift? Oops, if I can type. A fundamental change in approach or underlining assumptions. I've essentially, by doing this video, I've helped you to establish a new paradigm shift that you don't need to go to some therapist. You don't need to go to some mastermind. You don't need to go to some person to help you clearly define what it is that you want to do. I've shown you by taking some simple steps of starting with what you don't like, negating it, writing down what you do like, and affirming it. And folks, when you affirm the things that you like and you have passion in your soul, you have a feeling in here that like is something that is drawn to you and you're passionate about it, you're going to get more of it. Remember I said the magnets? I might not have said that properly, but to me, it's in my mind, that's what makes sense. Because you establish that negative, or you start with a negative, you eliminate it, you develop this positive and these things you like. You become very powerful. You become very powerful because you have negated all that negative crap out of your life, and you've put in and you've pulled in all this positive. And the more and more that you have passion for the things that you like, and that you affirm it and you feel it in your soul, you feel it, you're conscious with your positive thoughts, you're conscious with the things that you like, and you speak it, and you consistently speak it into existence. You may think it, but when you speak it, it means that it's coming that much closer to you. Okay? If you think it and you speak it, that means you can have it. It does. Folks, I went from a guy many years ago, didn't know anything about the internet. I taught myself. I bought courses, I got mentors, and I still didn't know what the heck I did. But you know what I did? I applied this principle. And then next thing you know, it's like I was cranking out sites. Like right now, I can go from concept, an idea, to landing a URL to building out a site within hours. Because it's what I do now. It's what I know how to do. It's what I'm confident, because I established a paradigm shift many years ago, and I let that negative self-talk, I don't know how to set up a website, or I don't know what it is to SEO. I don't know this. And I stopped saying all that stuff. I started saying, like now, like I just told you, like now, if I have an idea, I just did something with my wife just the other day. We went from a concept to landing a URL that she just was in love with, and she's in love with, and to having our logo developed, to now building out a website very quickly, and her establishing a source of revenue for herself that is independent of me. Okay? But it all started from this right here. You have to understand, folks, that if you're starting on a shaky ground, no matter how much you want it, no matter how much you believe in it, you're going to be like I'm in this chair right now and I'm wobbly. It's like, wobbly foundation. And the likelihood of it happening is less likely than if you just go ahead and establish a foundation. Why do you establish that foundation for a house? Because in order for you to build up on that and build up from that, the foundation has to be solid. That's why you negate the negative, and that's why you affirm the positive. Okay? When you're looking to build a business or build from something and build up from it, you got to be able to start with the most simple things that you're passionate about. Folks, you know what I did? I picked my very first website I picked was credit repair. I had no idea what the heck I was talking about with credit repair. I was trying to teach myself a new skill because I didn't know any better. I was looking at how can I make the most bang for my buck with AdSense. That's what I thought. I didn't know any better. I was thinking about money first, not what I was passionate about. Folks, when you do what you're passionate about, you can establish the money. You can put all these revenue streams around that passion. That's why I say when you're passionate about something and you've established it and you've taken these actions, folks, you can go from there. You could take anybody's image and you can redevelop that image, or you can have somebody recreate an image like that for you, or you can go find something that is royalty free. Now, when I went and told you that, hey, go in there and right click and put those photos in there, these are just to help you more clearly define what it is you're passionate about. I'm not saying use those images and market those, because you may not have copyright rights to those images. And I don't suggest that you steal people's stuff, because just because it's on the internet doesn't mean you have the rights to use it. Okay? All right, so just understand that. That exercise was to help you more clearly define what it is you want. There's a young lady that was in my life for a while. And I kid you not, this was a 16-year-old kid who in her mind, at 16 years old, this young lady, she wanted three basic things. After she uncovered the three things that she liked, it was to, mind you, 14, she was 14, excuse me. A 14-year-old thinks very differently than, say, a 21-year-old, which she's 21 now. Okay? And that 14-year-old, and that time in her life, she wasn't allowed to dye her hair. Her mother didn't let her dye her hair. Her mom was a little more conservative for her because she's 14. Okay? The three things this young lady wanted, and I'll never forget this. It was so simple, but to me, I thought, of all the things you really want in your life, that's what you want? And they were this. She wanted to dye her hair. She wanted to wear band t-shirts, and she wanted to go to tons of music concerts. And what does she do right now as a 21-year-old? She changes her hair color every couple weeks. She has, oh, I'm sorry. It was to, I misspoke there. It was to have piercings, tons of piercings, okay? Band t-shirts, and to have her, to dye her hair. That's the mind of a 14-year-old. That's what the mind of a 14-year-old wanted. Well, if you looked at what this young lady does now, she's got piercings all over the place. She wears nothing but band t-shirts, and she goes to these concerts. She dyes her hair constantly. All these things that she wanted at 14 years old, when she took this little exercise, that's how she lives her life now. Whether she applies all those principles that she learned at 14, it's up to her. But what she did was she clearly defined what she wanted, and she has lived that now. Okay, I can give you personal take after personal take after personal take, but that's something from a young person that they clearly define what they wanted. And it's something that you can do too. It doesn't matter how big or how small it is, you guys. Maybe you don't want to monetize it. Maybe it's something you just want to bring into your life, and that's why I let in with that. It doesn't matter what it is. It only matters to you. Maybe you want to have a better car. Maybe you want to put more money in your bank account. Maybe you want to experience more positive blessings in your life. I don't know. I don't know what it is you want. For me, this is one of the things that I like to do. I love doing this. I love helping people. I love establishing new paradigm shifts. Something I love being able to take somebody's idea and then help them to more clearly define it. It doesn't matter if it's to make money from it or to draw more of that into their lives. These principles flat out work. And folks, when you read this out loud and you keep writing and keep reading the things that you like and keep reading the things you like, you can get adventurous with this. You can say, then the way you expand off of your thoughts is to level up. You continuously want more. Okay? And the more things that you like, and the more things you like about that situation, the more in tune with something that you are, the more likely you're going to draw it into your life. And I'm gonna lead with this, guys. And this is Thomas Edison, okay? One of the greatest inventors of our time, okay? Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is to always try just one more time. You guys, this may not have made a whole lot of sense to you, but try it. Start by writing the things you don't like. Walk away from it. Come back, cross through it, write the things that you do like. And then when you already have the things you do like, fold that sheet over, fold it back so you don't see it. Okay? Maybe you have another sheet that you have folded over that you'll never see the things that you've already crossed out and that you don't like. So the things that you like, you read them out loud. You read them out loud. You feel it. You read it morning, noon, and night. To me, the more, if you really want it, read these things that you like more and more and more and more. And read it and feel it. When you read, I like that I've moved into a 5-bedroom, 3-bath home. You want to know something funny? I was writing that down. I had moved to where I was born in Great Falls, Montana. I relocated there, but I'd been traveling so much I was never there. And I wrote what I don't like. I don't like that I live in a temporary home, something that I feel unsettled. When I negated that and I crossed it out, and I wrote, I like that I own a 5-bedroom, 3-bath house. And then I put, for me, what I do is I gave it a time frame. I actually gave it an end date when I was going to receive it. And I read it every day, and 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 read it every day, morning, noon, and night, and multiple times. I read it, and I start feeling it. Well, guess what now, folks? I don't live in a 5-bedroom, 3-bath house. I live in a 7-bedroom, 3-bath house. And I did it all because I wrote it down. That's just one example. My truck that I have. If you guys know me, you guys know I went through a stage where, I had vehicle. I travel around, as you guys see. I've been in rental cars, hotel living for many years because it's just what I wanted to do. If you don't know my story about that, I was in the United States Air Force. And I decided I wanted to get out of the Air Force. And I had 3 goals. 3 goals. Those goals were, I wanted to travel the world 100% of the time. I wanted to have a great job. And I wanted to make over $100,000 a year. And when I was in the Air Force, everybody laughed. Yeah, you don't even make $20,000 a year. Ha, ha, ha. Very funny. Ha, ha, ha. They laughed at me, and I kept telling them, you'll watch. You see. You're going to see. I'm going to prove you all wrong. And every day I read that. I had a little 3x5 card that I laminated. And I folded it up, and I had it in my BDUs. And I would pull it out every day, and I would read it when I got up. I read it at noon. I read it at night. I didn't know about all this concepts. I didn't know about all this stuff then. I just thought, to me, if I write it down and I speak it, hey, I'll get it. And my mind was fixated on getting what I wrote down. Well, guess what? I got out of the military. After I got off of terminal leave, a month and a half later, I was offered a position on the global install team with applied materials, and with the crazy amount of hours I worked, I made over $100,000 a year because I worked my butt off. I didn't put any limitations like, oh, I only want to work 20 hours a week and make over $100,000 a year. My goal is I want to make over $100,000 a year. I want to travel the world. I want to have a great job. Well, if you know anything about those corporations, Applied Materials is the largest producer of semiconductor equipment in the world. I was on the global install team, and I worked my butt off, so it's just kind of a byproduct that I made over $100,000 a year because I worked my butt off. I worked a lot of hours. Okay? Just remember this. Just remember what Henry Ford said, guys. If you think you can do a thing or think you can't do a thing, you're right. Believe in yourself, guys. At this point, you've come together with me on this journey within this video. You're coming together is a beginning. Staying together is progress, and working together is success. By now, you should understand that my whole goal in life, regardless of my ups, my downs, or the in-betweens in life, my whole goal is to provide you with information that can help you and that you can use to make a change in your life. Just remember, folks, failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. So I implore you, take the things that you learned here, uncover what you really want to do, and I helped you by showing you where to start, where I use as my core foundation with anything that I do. I start by negating the negative and affirming the positive, and I write down I take the 2 minutes, I write them down, I circle them, I go through and I pull pictures. I do that to this day, folks. After I go through and I do that, I have a more defined and more clear picture. When you get down into breaking down like what you should do, how you subcategorize and how to build a business from, that's very different. But what you've learned today, you started by negating the negative. You got all the negative crap out the way, and now you're affirming the positive. If you took the time to affirm it, now you know how to uncover what you're most passionate about. Simple in nature, but I tell you what, it's very powerful. All right, guys, that's all I have for you today. Hopefully you got something out of this. Always remember, it doesn't matter what it is. That last piece right here. This last piece. Everything you learned here. I do this to this very day. Today, after I get off of this video from you, I'm going to do this myself. Because you can always level up in anything that you do. Okay? Anything that you do. Always remember that once you learn core competencies and you learn what works, successful people don't deviate from that. They rinse, wash, and repeat. Okay? Do not mistake the simplicity of what you've learned here for the fact that it won't work. I use this to this day. You're seeing a video of something I'm making right now for you because many years ago, I said I wanted to make videos and inspire people. And an exercise just like this, and then an exercise where I wrote down the 3 things that I like to do, that I want to do. And I'm living proof right now that what I have covered in this little exercise works. I wish you health, wealth, and happiness. And I wish you all the success that you can possibly come about in your life, and you bring it into your life. Thank you so much for watching this video. It'd be cool if you gave me one of those. Maybe you comment below with your thoughts. Maybe if there's something that you can add to it, comment below. Help these folks out. And you know, if you feel it's something useful, subscribe to the channel, because I'm always dropping these kind of tidbits. A lot of times I do marketing stuff, but this right here, to me, I was so passionate about this today that I wanted to make sure I did something a little different so that you can get something out of it from my channel. Thank you so much, guys. You guys have a blessed day, and thank you for stopping by.